Several people have asked us if they really need to get a special weight pull harness since they're just starting out in the sport, or is it possible to find a usable harness at a local pet supply? Well, here to talk about that is professional dog trainer and APDA founder Lisa Mawson, along with our very patient harness model, James. Welcome, Lisa.
Hello, everyone.
I have to say, looking at this harness, it doesn't look very useful for pulling.
Actually, this harness is made to stop dogs from pulling. Its construction is positioned so that it actually affects the dog's forward movement comfortably. So it definitely would not be effective for pulling.
Well, this is a harness I've seen around. What can you tell us about this one?
This is the common type of harness you can find in most pet stores. For normally walking your dog, it is more comfortable and it's not very restrictive. However, the attachment point being on the back, since the attachment to the sled is somewhat lower typically than the height of the dog, would cause the weight not to be distributed evenly and to pull towards one side. This can be very uncomfortable for their back.
Well, this looks like the same kind of harness, just with padding.
That's a ski joring harness, which is when a dog pulls you cross-country skiing. The attachment point of the dog is generally at the person's waist, which is usually above their back level, which is why the attachment point being at the top of the back is not a problem in that sport, but definitely is a disadvantage weight pulling.
These next two look like they're made for pulling too.
Those are definitely made for pulling. Those are sledding harnesses, obviously typically worn by Huskies and Malamutes. They are constructed a little bit differently than weight pull harnesses because their attachment point is different, being that multiple dogs are generally pulling the weight over a longer distance. So they simply distribute the weight a little bit differently.
Now this one looks complicated.
It is a little complicated. It's actually a drafting harness or carting harness. It has to take into consideration that the dogs are turning a different type of a vehicle and steering it, as well as backing it up. So it has to be attached in such a way that the dog's movement can actually steer and back up the equipment, not just pull it.
But if I wanted to teach my dog carting, could I use it for resistance dragging as well?
Absolutely. The weight is pulled low and off the back and is going to be much more centrally located and comfortable for a dog to pull.
And could I use it in competition though?
A lot of these types of harnesses are made so that they technically do fit the requirements for weight competition weight pulling. So it really depends on the harness whether or not it meets the criteria. And it needs to be sufficiently padded.
So what you're saying is I really do need to invest in a purpose-made weight pull harness.
Yes, that's really the safest for your dog. Different dogs, different breeds obviously are built much differently. It really needs to fit them properly, both in width, length, and the neck and shoulders where the weight's distributed.
Well, do I really have to have my dog's harness custom made though, or do harness makers keep standard sizes on hand?
The best thing to do is contact different harness makers. Some of them may stock sizes that they commonly make in similar dimensions. So there may be something available, and sometimes you can find a used harness that just happens to be the right size for your dog.
But what if my dog doesn't enjoy weight pulling? I'd hate to invest in a harness she'll never use.
At many events, you may find individuals who have multiple harnesses, or the person holding the event does provide harnesses to borrow so that you can try it out before you order your own harness. The most important thing is that it fits properly. If you're just borrowing it, at least as close as possible.
Well, thanks, Lisa, for stopping by and talking to us about harnesses today.
You're very welcome. Hopefully we'll see you and some new people at one of our events in the near future.
Do you have a question for us? Just ask. Contact us through Facebook or through our website, apdasports.com. Happy pulling!